Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening everyone, and welcome along to round 11 of the AOR Hype Season 19 PC F1 League. We are here at the Austrian Grand Prix for the penultimate round of the season, and we still have a lot on the line going into the final round. With the championship still on the line, let's hope that it can prosper to be an exciting end to what has been a very entertaining season. Speaking of entertainment, the Red Bull Ring is firing on all cylinders when it comes to great racing. The track itself is the shortest in terms of lap time on the calendar, mainly due to the vast long straights that make up the majority of the first two sectors for a challenging end to the lap, giving the Austrian circuit we race on today. 4.3 kilometers with 10 turns, 7 to the right and 3 to the left, and of course the 3 DRS zones that bind the first 3 straights, giving drivers plenty of opportunities to overtake. And if rumours are to be correct, Austria could potentially play host to the first round of the real-life F1 season, so potentially we could get a taste of what's to come into tonight's Grand Prix. Or maybe not, because our championship leader drives a Williams. Soft to medium strategy predicted for tonight's Grand Prix. The hards are just too slow, and these drivers care about the finest of margins, the finest of tenths of a second. Don't expect the white stripe tyres to make an appearance unless some lap 1 melee occurs. That out of the way, welcome everyone, my name is Jim Costello and I'll be one of your commentators for tonight's Grand Prix. Joining me once again is my partner in crime, Jens. Apologies that last week we had more technical issues than you can shake a stick at. If you haven't checked out the video, it is on the YouTube channel, just as an FYI. Hopefully, Jens, the technical issues have averted us and we can enjoy what should be a fascinating Grand Prix.
Yes, indeed, and after last week where we had to leave out most of qualifying, let's just jump straight in so you can see some action with the cars. Of course, last week, a lot of technical difficulties, not even just on the stream, but also on the recording afterwards with OBS. It looked like last week had just all the saved up issues and just threw them all at us. But we're back, and up until now, everything has been running good. But I should, of course, not jinx anything. We all know the commentator's curse can and will most likely shut down the stream all of a sudden. But it looks good for now. So we're here for the penultimate round of this championship, and it has been saving up all season for just a cracker of a finish. We have the 3 top drivers here for tonight, so maybe they can give us a bit of battling out on track, but for the championship it is looking just quite a bit sealed, because Speedbarring has to lose to Infamous with 14 or more points, and Simon has to get all 26 points today, and Speedbarring has to get none if he wants to win, and Speedbarring has to lose with 14 or more points to Infamous if he still wants to win the championship. But Infamous already out there trying to ease it up a bit in the race for himself, gone out there and is currently on a provisional pole position with just about 14 minutes to go in today's qualifying session.
It's all in Speedboy's hands, isn't it? I mean, he's missed the last 2 Grand Prix, and he's still 40 points ahead. If that doesn't show you what a magnificent season he's had, I don't know what will. 4 wins out of the 8 races he's attended, and we might add to that collection tonight. But I think a championship is inbound for him tonight, unless some miracle occurs. But you know, we know Red Bull are usually decent at this circuit. Infamous, albeit just in qualifying, is showing his tremendous pace once again. Had a shocker of a round last week. There's no denying that. But that happens sometimes. But in the midst of just trying to fight for a championship, the last thing he wanted to do was to DNF from last week's Grand Prix, which unfortunately he did. So it's all looking, well, it's not looking too good for him. Simon is in second place at the moment. Obviously, he literally needs to get 2 wins, 2 fastest laps, and Speedboy to score 0 points to have any chance of winning the championship, and then he'll equalise on races 1. I wonder what's less likely than that? Probably not much, because that is certainly a scenario I don't think we'll be seeing tonight or even next week.
No, it certainly requires a lot for Speedboy to lose the championship here. And of course, all 3 drivers fighting for the championship has had good seasons, but Speedboy has just taken it to a whole new level. He was of course fighting with Crow early in the season for that top spot. Unfortunately then Crow had to leave, and Bono and of course Speedboy was also up there, so that was a real 3-way, almost 4-way fight, but that kind of fell a bit apart through the season, and then just Speedboy, the only one left, has just ran with it at the top, and he really deserves to get it if I just look down on the result. But interestingly, he has not set time yet in today's qualifying session with just over 11.5 minutes to go. He was out on an out lap not too long ago, but decided to pull into the pits at the end of it, so don't know why that was. He was on the soft tyres, so it wasn't because he felt that he needed another set, that he'd gone on a wrong set, as Camille goes on and sets a new fastest lap. Matches his Red Bull teammate at the top, so that's now a Red Bull, provisionally Red Bull 1-2. Let's hope for them that they can finish it out that way, as now Speedboy, the only driver not to have set a lap time just yet, out on an out lap, so let's see if he'll go out there and set a bank a lap time, or if he decides to just go and set one final time in the end and see what he can do then.
I mean, this track being so short, I mean, the lap times are close to 60 seconds, so he's got more than enough time to dabble about what he actually wants to do. Is now Presnader actually takes that provisional pole position away from the Red Bulls, so the time's starting to dip as the track starts to evolve a lot more. Let's see what Speedboy can conjure up though, as he's on his flying lap. DRS not activated. I wonder if that's his own decision or he's just backed off.
Yeah, I wonder, because down the start-finish straight he hadn't activated it as well, so and the reason could have been on the first lap he didn't go out and do anything. Could maybe be a DRS failure of some sort that he is hoping will get fixed with time, as in the 3 DRS zones round on his lap he has gone through, he hasn't had the DRS activated. It has been inactive all the time, so very interesting there, as he just goes a smidge too wide and gets his lap time invalidated. But interesting choice, or interesting that the DRS wasn't enabled. Could maybe signal a DRS failure.
He was definitely pushing. I mean, there's no denying about that. I mean, until he got his lap invalidated, as Infamous now takes back that provisional pole from Presnader, so it looks like, and Simon takes that back, so
wow,
4-way scrap it seems, potentially even more when Speedboy gets a decent lap time in. But the top 3 separated by not even a tenth of it. Well, top 4 separated by not even a tenth of a second. Obviously, it is to be expected at times to be so close because this track being so short that there's no real margin for error, unlike a track like Spa or Baku, where a much longer circuit, meaning you can lose a few tenths but still make it up in some other sections. It's very unlikely that if you lose a few tenths, it's very unlikely you can make that up, because this track obviously only has 10 corners, and most of it are just corners leading to straights and whatnot. I mean, the middle sector is probably the most technical, with the 2 left-handers that make up turn 5 and 6. But still, I mean, the fact that the top 4 are still, not even a tenth separated, we should be in for a very fascinating end to this qualifying session. And obviously Speed Bari, who's just come out now, so obviously we will check and see if this DRS has been fixed, because if it hasn't, well, say goodbye to any chance of pole position, because DRS is so effective here, not just in the racing aspects, but also in the qualifying. Can gain way too much time that Speed Bari can afford without the DRS. So,
No, it's activated
although it
now.
looks like, yeah, he's finally got that fixed. So, we're aiming to skill this qualifying session without a time. The pressure is on, but Speed Bari, what's pressure to him? He's been magnificent this season, so wouldn't be surprised if he gets up there with his first lap or even his second. But yeah, no worries for him now that his DRS has been cleared and given the go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because if Infamous snatches pole position, he will equal himself with 2 pole positions. Currently Speed Bari and Simon both have 2, and Infamous only has 1. So interesting to see if Speed Bari is going to go match Crow from early in the season. He has 3 pole positions. So here he comes to start his first lap, first actual lap with DRS. That might be something, as for some reason the time hadn't started on my screen, but it is all fixed now. Opens the DRS for the second time. He's up into overtake ERS. You was in hot lap just a second ago, coming up the hill there through turn 2, that is up to turn 3. Of course, that small kink is counts as a turn, and then opens the DRS for the third time down the back straight just before coming into that very technical turn 4. Just downhill brake, and then having to wait on the exit before going flat out again, coming into the most technical part of the track with the 2 left-handers just before you can go flat out on the exit, as he does set the fastest second sector we have seen until now, coming in to the final couple of corners. That double right-hander getting a bit disturbed there by the Toro Rosso Vaninator, but opens the DRS for the final time, and it's a new provisional pole position. But no, Camille just beats him. First Bari, then Camille. 9,000 split them at the top with just over 5.5 minutes to go of this qualifying session. It is spicing up, and wow, the top 4 is split by less than 0.04 of a second.
Mental. And Presnade is not too far back either in the McLaren. The whole grid is separated by under 0.6 of a second, so you can see how deadly 1 or 2 mistakes can cost you, like a few positions, maybe even more down the grid. But I mean, Camille, he's carried on his magnificent form as of late in the second Red Bull. Obviously not given the spotlight that the other Red Bull obviously has, being in a much more better chance in the championship, but still proving that he has improved vastly over the course of this season. Obviously still very young and still very new to this, so the fact that he's gone to provisional pole, speaks volumes. But there's still 4 minutes to go, and there goes Presnader to take pole position for the first time in this qualifying session. 1:35.53, 300 quicker than Camille, 400 quicker than Speed Bari. The top 5 separated by 700ths of a second. The end of this qualifying session should be absolute melee, and I can't wait.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. The top 5 is so close. We're into the so small margins that you really just look on the exit if you're putting the throttle down 1 centimetre more that you could maybe snatch pole position. It is incredible how close it is. And you know, people behind could join because one mistake could see you fall far down the field, and if you then mitigate that mistake on your next run, could see you fly up 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. So let's see just the top 5. Let's see how they shape out in the end. 7/100ths of a second splitting them all. It's insane.
Yeah, it is, and just how close these guys are, it's just magnificent. And it is obviously one of the best reasons why PCF1 is the ultimate tier for the PC side of things in AOR. Whilst talking about that, I just saw Kruzix have a small spin in the second sector, but all things have been averted. He's now back into the pit. So we only have 3 minutes to go this qualifying session, so the bedlam starts, and well, we should be seeing 14 drivers go fully at it for one final lap, or potentially 2, because the likes of Speedbari, Simon, Infamous have all gone out pretty early to potentially get in, well, the prospect of 2 laps. Potentially, if you know they do mess up one of their laps, they actually give themselves a buffer and are able to do another lap, because the corner cutting regulations on this circuit, just like in Canada last week, are quite strict, and we do often see drivers getting bunches of penalties. So expect that in the race, so get your pens at the ready. But yeah, 2 minutes ago this qualifying session, everyone out now, apart from Kruzix, as I mentioned, and Zones. And we are seeing likes of Speedbari start his penultimate potentially, or even final lap, as is Matthias right behind him. So we'll see how everyone gets on in the final 90 seconds of the qualifying session. It could go anyone's way, Jens. It could, honestly, like, likes of even Andreator could find 2/10 and he could put himself on pole. It just really is that close to see he'll come out on top.
Yes, indeed, and we're currently riding on board with Mr. Anchor, who will be our first driver to cross line. Well, could of course go out for another flying lap after that, but he'll be the first driver during this final mad dash to cross the line, as it is getting a bit darker over the circuit. I'm not saying we'll get any rain, but it is certainly getting darker. As Mr. Anchor crossed the line, slight improvement, but Infamous right behind there, sets fastest second sector, but Speedbari comes right in afterwards with a new fastest lap there. Provisional pole position for him. Then behind we had Matthias cross line. He doesn't improve very much. Then it will be Simon, I believe. Yes, it will. Simon then up to cross the line. What will he be able to do? Only enough for second place for now, and he doesn't push on. He is backed off there. So he will start no higher than second place, but you'll have to watch out. The driver's coming from behind. Preshnader will cross the line next of the top bunch there. Let's just keep an eye on them. And actually, he backed off on his first one. He's going for his actual flying lap now. So let's see what he'll be able to do. Camille coming across the line. Doesn't improve, but is looking like he's going for a second one there. Cardinov crossing the line. He'll start no higher than 9th place. Who will be the next driver to cross the line? Infamous has backed off, so it won't be him. Will it be Matthias? Yes, it will. What he'll be able to do coming across the line, backs off just before. Interestingly, he's trying to start outside the top 10. I don't quite know. Sones across the line, 9th place for him. Then it'll be the other Mercedes of Roy. Also backs off to start outside the top 10. I know he got his lap time validated, that's why. Very interesting there from Matthias, at least, deciding to just stop almost before the line. But Photon now across the line, start no higher than 13th. Well, he will start 13th. Then it'll be Krusix. He is into the wall. Starting no higher than 11th. Then it'll be no one. Yeah, that is all the drivers. All the drivers. That is the final standings there. Speedboy in the end pulling out a 103.411 to get a bit of a gap down to Simon. I would say, looking at what the gaps were before, that is a big gap, and a quite even bigger gap down to the likes of Preshner, Infamous and Camille. So interesting to see that Speedbar just saving everything for the end. But that right there, as it comes up on the screen, is how the drivers will start the race. Speedbar starts on pole, Simon in second, Preshner third, Infamous fourth, Camille fifth, Andinator takes 6th place, Anchor takes 7th, and Failer 8th, Soames 9th, and Cardnoff joins him for the final 10th place there. Then it will be Krusix in 11th, Matthias in 12th, Photon takes 13th, and Roy takes 14th down there. Interesting to see just at the end of qualifying, Matthias actively braking before the line to not get into the top 10. That might be a small nod to his strategy. As we're coming in now, I think the Mercedes are trying to start on the medium tires. No! It's raining, and it's raining a lot.
Wow.
Wow! Well, at the end of qualifying, it did begin to darken. I did see some rain after the position, the final positions came up. But wow, it is raining a lot. So I'm guessing a full wet start, possibly to intermediates, and then on to dry tyres if we're lucky, or maybe full wets to the end. Who knows? We have no idea of the weather, so that's going to be interesting to see how that shapes the grid come the end. And it'll be interesting to see who has the better strategy. You know, maybe the time from Speedbari could indicate that he trended towards a qualifying setup for a bit of drier weather, but who knows? We don't know what the drivers are thinking. That's why we're in the box and not in the car. But wow, everyone of course starting in the full wets, no doubts there. Wow, not what I had expected.
No, not at all.
No, oh wow.
Certainly surprised, but a welcome one. We haven't seen rain in quite some time in the AOR F1 League.
Not since Japan, I believe.
And that was riddled with technical issues, so let's not hope for any more.
Oh
but
no.
This is full wet, the most extreme conditions we can get. I do remember when you were talking about the qualifying setup. Remember Jan Otmir last season in USA did a 129, but obviously it was in a qualifying setup. But it was a wet race, and he couldn't turn that pole position into a race victory. So I wonder if anything like that will happen tonight regarding Speedbari. But if that is the case, as long as he gets a few points and Infamous doesn't catapult himself up to the top, championship will come in due course. But 36 laps at a wet Austrian Grand Prix and a wet Red Bull ring are certainly challenging conditions, and especially with the likes of Preseder and Simon tucked up behind him, and Infamous as well, obviously second place in the championship. There are challenges galore for these 14 drivers, and well, I'm excited to see how this unfolds really, because we haven't seen wet weather in Austria especially in ages. So looking to see how this race unfolds. Obviously we have 14 drivers to take on the challenge of the 36 laps at Austria. With the championship on the line going into the final two races, will Speedbari wrap it up, or will it go to the final round when the 5 lights go out? We are underway at torrential conditions. Let's see who gets the best launch on the top. It looks like Simon actually got a much better launch. He's wheel to wheel with the Williams into turn 1, but can he get past Speed Barry? Oh, there's contact! Oh, Simon's round. That was a Red Bull of Infamous just tapping him on the back there, and Simon's race has really gone absolutely horrible. That is a horrible start. I wonder if Infamous has potentially got any wing damage, but Speed Barry already catapulting himself up into lead this 3 wide in towards turn 4 with the other Haas. As that is what on earth has happened there with the Toro Rosso Amandere. He looks like he nearly went upside down there, and there's more contact. Down turn 4. There's multiple drivers wiped out. Andrea, Simon, Cardinov at the back, and also Matthias. But what a weird and wacky start that was. Speed Borre looked like he's involved in absolutely no action whatsoever. And it's absolutely dream world for the Williams at the moment. 1.5 seconds ahead of Presnader. Then comes the 2 Red Bulls, and Infamous does maybe have a bit of wing damage, but it isn't showing at the moment. But we'll see if that affects him in due course. Anker made a great start, as did Jan Thaler. But the big talking point there is Simon getting spun round the first corner through no fault of his own.
Oh, certainly, yeah, like that start. I'm not quite sure what happened everywhere, but Speed Barry still out in the lead. If we just quickly have a look at Infamous's car, just quick look at the front. I'm not seeing any front wing damage to his car, so that's very lucky for him, because with that small tap there, you could have thought it. But it doesn't look like it. Of course, now onto lap 2, the DRS won't be enabled come lap 3. So that's gonna be interesting to see what the fight will look like come the positions for the podium. The 2 Red Bulls, of course, will be hoping that they can get past Presnader, so they can both get a podium positions for both Red Bulls at their home ground. And Speed Barry there out in the lead, 1.5 seconds down to Presnader now in second place. So he's just out there stretching his legs. And as things are looking now, it is looking like the championship is sealed for him. At least Simon, well, he'll have to get past everyone, get 26 points, the fastest lap as well, of course. And Speed Barry has to go out completely. But here comes Infamous on his teammate, tries into turn 1, but just hasn't got enough speed or grip to go down the inside. Then the other straight there, the second straight, come with turn 2 there. They're going side by side, coming up into turn 3. Let's see how that'll shape out. Let's hope there's no touches from those two, the teammates there. Infamous looks like he's going easily down the inside, but Anker now comes. Will he join the fight? Doesn't look like it. Infamous, fortunately for him, stays in 4th. Camille stays in 3rd. As it looks like James has left the session there.
Dear.
Technical issues continuing as Photon and Williams Jim Roy down in 9th place are going. Photon and Sones went side by side, getting a bit disorientated now. Looks like Photon got past Sones there for 7th place. Sones down in 8th. Infamous up in 4th there in the battle with Anker and Camille for the final podium position. It's going to be interesting to see with the 2 Red Bulls fighting each other if they can keep it clean, and if they keep it clean, if Anker gets past, because they don't want to fight too hard with each other. But up at the front, Simon or Speed Barry just stretching those legs of the Williams, so it doesn't look like Simon will have any chance of getting those 26 points. And the same for Infamous. It really has to go horribly wrong for Speed Barry to not win in the end. Of course, plenty of laps to go. I shouldn't jinx him, I know. We all know the Infamous commentator's curse. That could go very wrong for him if I continue rambling on about how well he's doing. But he's really stretched the legs of the Williams here in the first 4 laps. And the rain's still coming down quite hard. It's going to be interesting to see what the strategy will look like if we're going on to any intermediates, onto any dry tyres come the end of the Grand Prix, or if it will be a wet-to-wet race. It's going to be interesting. Speed Barry, another fastest lap from him. We're going to be tired of seeing that come the end of the Grand Prix, but the fight for third place still raging on just a bit. Still within the second of Camille, Infamous is, and still within the second of Infamous, Mr. Anker is, but it doesn't look like anyone is going for the move just yet. Of course, in these conditions, it can sometimes just be safer to stick behind and not go for the moves, and it looks like that is what Infamous is choosing to do, especially with his teammate here. You don't want anything to happen. It is rule number 1, don't touch your teammate, and looks like he is doing that quite well up until now. Further back, something Infamous wasn't able to do with Simon. He's down in 10th, has crept in to the points, and is behind Roy down for the fight for 9th and 10th place, but someone who is closer, it is Kruzik's behind in 11th. So Simon will have to try and push on if he wants any more points in the championship and guard himself off from Preschnader behind, who could actually take that third place in the championship if Simon isn't able to convert any more points in the championship, as he closes a bit up to Roy, then 9th place, as I just saw on the skies there that it is clearing up a bit, so that's interesting. But here Simon comes up the hill through turn 2, going around the outside, coming into turn 3, looks like he's gotten the position easily there without much trouble. Roy down to 10th, Simon up into 9th place, and he'll go chasing after Sones, who is 2.9 seconds up the road in the racing point. So quite a gap there, and Sones actually up there fighting with Simon's teammate Failer in 7th place. Going to be interesting to see if Sones can get past, or if he has to stick behind for the foreseeable future, as the skies are clearing up a bit, but it doesn't look like they're going to clear up enough anytime soon. As oh my, Simon with the 3-second time penalty getting in there now, and oh, Matthias as well. It's all kicking off with the penalties now. Not good for Simon at all. He would not like this, especially not for the championship. That is absolutely catastrophic for him. As there, oh, Jan Fela has a small lock up, the same does Sones. There's a bit of contact there. That'll give Simon a bit of a chance to catch up a bit more to that fight. But oh my, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. That almost renders it impossible to win this Grand Prix, especially we know how close the field is. But oh my, Matthias as well down in 13th as well with the penalty. So as we talked about during qualifying, the penalties can be quite harsh round this circuit, the same as in Canada, and just showing it here from the beginning of the race, as Photon now is stretching the legs of his Ferrari engine up in 6th place. He's going and taking a couple of fastest laps, has done that for a couple of laps now. He wants to catch up to Mr. Anker and the fight for 5th. Sones gets past Jan Fela there. I think Jan Fela had some issues getting the throttle down through turn 1, but I'm not quite sure what happened to him. As further ahead, Preschnader has caught up to be within the second, or just around, off Speed Barry. Looks like with the rain clearing out a bit and Speed Barry has pushed quite a bit, that he may have lost a bit of the grip in his tyres, as if I'm not mistaken, it has cleared up quite a bit. So we might see some intermediate running in the next couple of laps, as we're here on lap 8 and Speedbari carrying on another lap. Most of the people, I think everyone will do, further behind, yeah, everyone passing that pit entrance. As yeah, their Photon just banging out fastest lap. As oh no, Simon pits. Is he going in for the early stop onto the intermediate tyres, or is that another set of full wets? No, onto the intermediate tyres Simon goes. So let's see what he will be doing. The same does Matthias Andenator down in 12th, 13th and 14th now. Let's see if they're going to be very quick, or if they're going to be having trouble out the next couple of laps. So Speedbari, of course, Preshner, Camille and Infamous all at the front there, and everybody else carrying on the full wet tyres. Now coming round to the pit entrance. Will we see Speedbari go into the pits? No, he carries on. What about Preshner? Preshner pits in. Preshner pits in for the intermediates. The same does Camille. Infamous carries on. Mr. Anchor pits. Photon carries on. Sones carries on. Baylor pits. Krusix pits. Cardnoff pits. Roy, what has happened to him? He's going very slow down between the penultimate corner and the second of the left-handers, but he pits as well. He has lost his front wing, it looks like, as something's gone completely wrong there with the camera angles. Looks like he lost quite a chunk and has to change his front wing there, so he might have hit the wall in the right there. Interesting, looks like it was a spin on his own, I want to say. But now the top four, Sones, Photon, Infamous and Speedbari, all out still on the wet tyres. I would guess that they are pitting in around, well, this lap. Yes, we see Speedbari there, pulled to the right hand side of the circuit, keeping it within the white lines, going into the pits. The same does Infamous. Photon carries on, interestingly. What about Sones? Sones goes into the pits as well. So Photon, interestingly, the only driver to still be out on the full wet tyres, carries on for another lap. So here on lap 11, that is where we see the most of the field have pitted in, as Camille there picks himself up a time penalty. 3 seconds for him as well. So after 11 laps, the penalty situation is Simon, Matthias and Camille, all with 3 second time penalties, and I believe the rest of the field is clean. But interestingly, Speedbari still on the wet tyres. He went in for the pit stop and went on for another set of full wet tyres. I am not sure if that is a mistake on his pit crew side, or if that is on purpose because more rain is on the way. Interesting strategy there. We will see now. Will he go into the pits or will he stay out for the rest of the Grand Prix on those tyres? He stays out, so not going to the pits for a change onto the intermediate tyres, but that is very interesting to see, because to my eyes and to the rest of the field, it is time for the intermediate tyres. And I am looking at the times now. We're seeing Camille putting in a new fastest lap. He is on the intermediate tyres, so interesting strategy choice there from Speedbari. Speedbari back up into first place, but Preshner behind there. is catching rapidly already, as Matthias puts in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix now. So let's see now, Preshner catching up to Speedbarry quite rapidly. I don't think it was on purpose he did this, as I'm looking at the skies now and I'm seeing the sun come through quite a bit, and the times are like the gap behind Speedbarry is minimizing quite a bit, as we're seeing Preshner now try and go for the move. Oh, there's a bit of contact there as Speedbarry just lets him go, as Speedbarry now goes into the pits again. Is this to change on to the intermediate tyres, or is it to retire? Let's see. Slowing down nicely as first Infamous, then Camille sets new fastest laps here in the pits. Preshner taking over the lead of the Grand Prix. Infamous, then Camille, so it's a Red Bull 2-3 at the home ground. Speedbarry changing on to the intermediate tyres, but let's see, he's out of the points now, and Infamous is up into second place. So this means now that Speedbarry will not win the championship here tonight if it continues like this. So I may or may not have cursed him earlier in the Grand Prix. Well, we'll only see that come the end, but I am growing increasingly more worried that I have cursed him. So sorry for that, Speedbarry. It was not on purpose. But this now means that Infamous is looking to be continuing the fight on to round 12 and the final round in Brazil at Interlagos for the final round. But Speedbarry down in 11th place. He can still scrape home some points, of course. He will have to lose by 14 or more points. So Infamous now in second. He gains 18. Speedbarry gains none. So let's see come the end of the Grand Prix where the points are, as of course it is clearing up right now, and it is the rain is not falling at the same rate that it did at the beginning. So we might see another round of pit stops, and it will be interesting to see who wins then, if Speedbarry is able to claim some more positions, as Speedbarry or as Simon gets past his teammate up into 7th place. Simon, of course, will be hoping that he can go up and gain the 26 points so he can stay in the fight at Brazil. And he'll, of course, hope that Speedbarry's bad luck in the pit stops continues on for the remainder of the Grand Prix. As on lap 15, the rain is not falling, or still falling just a bit, and we are seeing the intermediate tyres on the drivers, and Speedbarry down in 11th place. Infamous in second is looking to continue the championship fight, as Speedbarry gets himself up into 10th place there, as I think there might be a small mistake from Cardinov into turn 1. So this means that Infamous is now only gaining 15 points. So it is growing increasingly close for the championship on where the points are. Of course, Speedbarry is close to Crucix, and Speedbarry with the better tyres than Crucix here. It will be interesting to see how quickly he can get past, and if he can close the gap up to Jan Fehler in 8th place. There to gain some more points, gain the much needed points for the championship. Of course, this season the fight for the championship and not gaining enough points is not something we have been talking about with Speedbarry very much. He has been leading the way for all season almost, and is now looking to lose quite a large chunk off his lead, and it will bring the tension in for the final round, but things can still change, as here we see Crew 6 up ahead of Speed Barry, having some traction issues, coming out onto the back straight and now into the challenging right-hander. Speed Barry goes down the inside and they're going side by side on the exit. Looks like Speed Barry is a bit better on the traction point, and he's gotten the position up into 9th place he goes. So 2 points for him now. So that is then 14 points. That means that the championship fight is still just open. But that means that Infamous will have to scrape home 26 points in the final round, and Speed Barry none at all. But of course, if he can close up the gap to Jan Fehler in 8th place, we will see a champion be crowned today. But that is all to come, with just about 19 laps to go of this Grand Prix. And of course, with the rain being the big question mark here as well, will it stop completely, or will more rain come towards the end? And that is of course something we do not know here in the commentary box. That is something only the drivers know for now, as the track is getting more and more dry. So I think we'll be seeing the dry tyres in the next couple of laps. It'll be interesting to see what the drivers choose. Of course, normally in a dry race it would go from softs to mediums, but I think we will see the drivers go on to possibly the medium tyres and try and claw that home to the end of the Grand Prix. But of course, that is all to come, as there Speed Barry picks himself up the fastest lap for now. So that's another point onto his campaign, and that means that he'll be crowned champion for now in the Grand Prix. That's very exciting stuff to just keep an eye on, as the fight for 4th place is also shaping up to be something, with Mr. Anchor catching up to Photon there. So that'll be interesting to see what they'll be able to give us in the fight for 4th place. Of course, Photon in 4th place on just a bit newer intermediate tyres, with Anchor having driven 8 laps on his and Photon 6 laps on his. It'll be interesting to see if Mr. Anchor can get past Photon, even though his tyres are on the older side, or if we'll be seeing the DRS being enabled in the coming laps, to see what that'll do for this battle, as it has been shaping up for the last couple of laps, as Jan Fehler and Speed Barry has come into the pits. Is that for the dry tyres? For Jan Fehler is a yes. Gone on to the medium tyres as I thought, and Speed Barry goes on to the medium tyres, I want to say, as sometimes my game can be a bit challenging with that, as yes, it is the medium tyres. What about Matthias in the 14th? He has gone on to the soft tyres. Interesting strategy call from him. I'm not sure that he'll be able to go all the way to the end of this Grand Prix, but maybe he'll try for the 2-stop strategy, or maybe he'll try with the soft tyres to go to the end of the Grand Prix. Of course, with a bit more grip now that the rain is still falling, could maybe benefit him, as Preshnader and Infamous has also come into the pits, the same as Anchor, Sohn and Simon. What tyres will they be going on to? Looks like for Infamous and Preshnader, they've gone on to the medium tyres. Where will they filter out, as Sohn has gone on to the soft tyres? Simon onto the mediums as well. Anchor onto the mediums. Kruzix, Cardnoff, Roy has also pit in. What tire will they go on to? Let's see. Bari, of course, further back, going on to the medium tyres. He stays in 9th place, right behind Jan Fehler. He has caught up that gap in the pit stops. But oh my, Andinator picks up a 5-second penalty. His race has gone from bad to worse, down in 14th. But interesting mix of the strategies now, with Preshneder, Infamous, Anchor, Simon, Fehler, Bari and Cardnoff going on to the medium tyres, and Sones, Kruzix, Matthias, Roy and Andinator going on to the soft tyres. What will Camille and Photon do? They're into the pits now. They are going on to the, let's see, both going on to the medium tyres there. So they are choosing the same strategy as most of the field, as it is almost an even split between the soft and the medium runners, with the medium runners just winning out. But now the rain is of course still falling, so that could maybe see some mistakes from the drivers, with the DRS being enabled now. But now, keeping an eye on Speed Bari, coming up to Jan Fehler, going side by side into turn 3. Speed Bari with the DRS coming out of turn 3, still going side by side down the back straight, opens the DRS and gets the position of Jan Fehler. So he's up into 8th place and is now looking to win the championship. But the rain is still falling, things can still happen. Now he'll try to go for Jan Fehler's teammate Simon, up in 7th place, 5.2 seconds between them. As he of course has to watch out from behind, but oh no! He picks himself up a 3-second time penalty there. That could prove detrimental come the end of the Grand Prix, because he needs every point if he can't get more positions than this, as Kruzix has decided to retire from the session in the final couple of corners there. Oh my, he has crashed and the full safety car has been deployed. Oh my god, what will this mean for the championship? Speed Bari looking to win for now, as there the safety car pulls out of the pit lane. So the whole field will form up behind the safety car as they're clearing out Kruzix's car. Kruzix just in the final corner, just have gone, just as I said, with the rain still falling, made a mistake, went wide and into the wall, and out he goes. And safety car deployed. Preshneder pits for new tyres. The same does Camille. Of course, they believe that they can make it home, maybe on a set of soft tyres, but they at least believe that a pit stop will do good stuff. Simon pits as well. The same does Speed Bari and Jan Fehler. So they of course believe that a new set of tyres will be good for the final couple of laps. Of course, a pit stop now doesn't take as much time or doesn't cost as much time as it normally does, as all the drivers will be going slow behind the safety car. But this means that Infamous takes over the lead of the Grand Prix, as Speed Bari falls down into 10th place. And you have to remember, Speed Bari has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So this could prove challenging for him if he wants to win the championship tonight. But this means that Infamous will carry on the fight until the next round in Brazil. Of course, before the race, there were 40 points between Speed Barney and Infamous. Now, there is just about 15 points. So that's going to be interesting to see come the end of the Grand Prix, where they will all filter out if Speed Barney's penalty will prove costly for his race, or if he can just brush it off as he moves up into 9th place as Photon goes into the pits for a set of soft tyres. So Infamous and Mr. Anchor, the only two drivers out on the medium tyres. The rest of the field will try to make it to the end on a set of soft tyres. And as we're behind the safety car right now, I don't think that's going to be an issue. And oh my, that is something I don't think I've ever seen before. Andonator picks himself up a 3-second time penalty behind the safety car. Of course, he is rushing behind the field to try and catch up before the safety car pulls in to the pits. Of course, the lights are still flashing, so I believe it'll go on for another lap after this. And that'll give Andonator a chance to catch up to the back of the field. The same with Cardinov, he's also just a bit behind Photon in 11th. But this will mean that Speed Barney will be close to Roy and will be able to maybe snatch that position off of him on the restart. And Infamous in first place will have Sones behind him on soft tyres. Sones will be doing everything in his power to get past, because this will of course mean loads to Sones, since this will be his first win and he's currently looking for his best position of this season. Sones down in, that'll be 17th in the championship with only 14 points. He will more than double his points in the championship if he can just stay in second place, and it will be his first podium position. But he will have quicker drivers from behind, eager to get his position in second place. And of course, just about 10 laps to go in the Grand Prix, so it will be a sprint race to the end. And the drivers are so close to each other on the restart, it'll be interesting to see what the positions will look like come the end. And of course, on the restart here we might see some mistakes from drivers and some collisions. Of course we don't want to, but it is a possibility, as here we got the message from race control that the safety car is in this lap. So now it is all over to Infamous to decide the speed of the restart. As he wiggles from side to side, the board still lighting up with the safety car, as it looks like he has put the throttle down and is going for it here, coming through the final corner. Sones behind, reacts to it but not quick enough. Anchor behind on Sones, ready to take the position into turn 1, but he decides to just stick behind. What about further back? Simon on Matthias, no, he isn't close enough to go for a move. The same with Speed Barney on Roy in 8th place. But up ahead, Mr. Anchor will look for the move on Sones into turn 3, no, still stays behind, still no movement further back. Everybody's still sticking in positions on the restart, and up until now it is clean. But now let's look at Simon on Matthias in 6th place, coming into the right hand of that. No, he just sticks behind into turn 4. Further ahead, Anchor stays behind Sones, Sones behind Infamous, and Camille behind Pressure. He's close as well. Speed Barney not able to get past Roy as well in 8th place. But let's see in the coming laps, as we will be seeing the DRS getting re-enabled soon. That'll be in 2 laps time, as Simon picks himself up with 3-second time penalties, really showing that this track is just so easy to pick up penalties on, as all the drivers on soft tyres now are picking themselves up fastest lap after fastest lap. But here we see, will we be getting any battling any time soon? Speedbarry close to Roy, Simon close to Matthias, but there he goes. Speedbarry on Roy, tries to go down the inside, going side by side on the exit of turn 3, but he doesn't have enough traction to get the position cleanly there, so you'll have to slot in behind again. But into turn 4, very close there with the front wings. There's a bit of bodging there from Speedbarry on Simon, but he gets the position ultimately. Now behind Roy, will have to watch out for Failer. He's very close, but no, Failer sticks behind. But Speedbarry goes up into 8th place here, and that is very important for the championship. Of course, Speedbarry with a 3-second time penalty, he will still fall way down the field. I think even outside of the points, if I'm not mistaken, as Preshner picks himself up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But Speedbarry up into 8th place for now, but I think he might fall outside come the end with his 3-second time penalty. But Infamous up into 3rd place, keeping it open in the championship, but behind Sones with the DRS now. Will Infamous be a sitting duck down the straight? It doesn't look like it. He is able to pull a gap, but behind Preshner with the DRS on Sones. Is he able to get past? No, it doesn't look like it. What about further back? Any moves? It doesn't look like it. Actually, Speedbarry now and Matthias battling for 7th place, going side by side through the left-handers there. Looks like Speedbarry is going to get the position round the outside. Great move from Speedbarry on Matthias there. Now he'll try to catch after Simon in 6th place. As we're here on lap 29, just starting lap 29 of 36. So not too long to go in the Grand Prix. Pressure now gets past Zone in 2nd place. Zone's down to 3rd, but will Pressure now go and challenge for the lead on Infamous? Let's see, down the straight with Hot Lap Euros. What about Infamous? He is in overtake Euros, but goes down to none very quickly afterwards. Pressure in 2nd place. Will he be able to go and challenge for the lead? He is on the soft tyres, Infamous on the medium tyres. Infamous on 9-lap old tyres, Pressure on 6. Now let's see. With the ERS all the way up into hot lap and then going down again, they'll be coming on to the start finish straight. With DRS, will Pressure be able to catch up to Infamous here? Only just a bit there, not enough to go for the move into turn 1, but he will have the DRS once again. Will he go for the move into turn 2 and then turn 3? He goes to it into the kink of turn 2 there. They go side by side up the hill, up into turn 3. Down the inside is Infamous though. Is he able to go and get the move there? No, but he does get the DRS on Pressure. He decides not to utilize it, but he is in the slipstream. He goes around the outside into turn 4. Will he be able to get the move? They go side by side, but Pressure ultimately with better traction holds on to P1. As there's yellow flags further back, I think there's been some collisions there. Yes, there is. Roy has been spun around. He's down into 13th place. Simon up into 5th. And Sones goes down into 9th. I think, oh wow, he is having trouble there. And Mr. Ankenau picks himself a 3-second time penalty. It's all kicking off here on lap 30. Oh my. First, a move for the lead, and oh my, Sones out of the Grand Prix in the final turn. Hits the wall, and safety car has been deployed. Hits the wall in the final turn and just gets himself completely careered onto the track there, and the safety car is deployed. So let's look at the positions, how they're looking. Preschneider in first place, Infamous in second, Mr. Anchor in third, Camille in fourth, Simon in fifth, Speedbar in sixth place, Matthias in seventh, Photon takes eighth, Cardinov in ninth, and Adnator in the final points paying position, and then Failer and Roy in 11th and 12th. But Preschneider and Infamous just having that battle before the safety car got deployed, and it looked like Infamous was about to get back at Preschneider on into the first couple of corners. But let's just talk a bit about the incident there with Sones. First, there were some yellow flags in turn 4. I believe that was for, well, it was for Roy, who spun round after some contact, I believe, because afterwards Sones had multiple issues with traction, and then into the final corner he just hits the wall quite hard and just gets stopped on the racing line. And I believe he might have had some issues with traction on his soft tyres. He was looking for a good position when he fell down the grid and ultimately went out of the race. He was looking for his season's best, but ultimately caused some more action for us, because when the safety car comes in on, I guess, next lap or the lap after that, we will have 2 to 3 laps to go, and it will be a cracker because all 12 drivers will be so closely together on track, and it is a short one round, so the drivers will not have much time or many corners to decide where to go for it. So it will be very hectic, with the drivers just having to decide when to go for it very quickly, as their Preschneider debating, looked like he debated to go into the pits but decided to ultimately stay out, as Cardinov and Andinator decides to pit in. But oh my, Cardinov there gets himself a 5-second penalty. So very unfortunate for him. He's not had the best race. He will join back in 12th place. So it'll be interesting to see what the drivers on the newer tyres will be able to do compared to the drivers on the older tyres. Especially the drivers with the old soft tyres compared to the two drivers on the old medium tyres. Of course, some of these soft runners will be able to get past possibly, and the drivers in the lower end of the field on new tyres will be fun to see where that will lead them. But now, coming up to turn 6 and 7, that will be where race control will decide if the safety car should stay out or go in. Let's see, does the lights stay on? No, they go out. And there, the official message, safety car in this lap. When the drivers cross the line, it'll be 3 laps to go. Preschneider will be leading off the grid, and he will decide the speed and when to go. Infamous will be keen to try and get back, and Anchor will be keen to try and get some positions. The same will Speedbar, but here he goes. Preschneider stays in first place for now as he crosses the line, and it's green flags. Green flags for the whole field into turn 1. What will we see in terms of battling? Everyone into turn 1 going in single file for now, but further ahead, Photon and Matthias in 7th and 8th trying to make some moves there. Speedbar ahead on Simon there, trying to go for the move. The same does Simon on Camille, up into 4th place. No, he hits the back of him, and there goes Speedbar up into 5th place. He goes round the outside, coming into turn 4, braking. He is on the outside, tries to get the position further back. There's more battling to see, but Speedbar Up into 5th place he goes. Over Simon in 6th. Further back, Jan Fehler side by side with Photon for 7th place. Looks like Jan Fehler gets it. Further back, Cardnoff and Matthias going side by side for 9th place. A three-way battle as well with Roy there in 11th. So it's a battle for 9th, 10th and 11th. Further ahead, Pressure has built himself a bit of a gap to Infamous in 8th. But there Cardnoff, oh my, now up to 10 seconds worth of penalties for him. Not the best for him. He's down into the last place. Where Jan Fehler in 7th place will be trying to look for movers further ahead. Here goes Speedball around the outside of Camille. Isn't able to do. Goes for the switchback move as DRS has not been enabled. It will be on the next lap as the yellow flags behind. It looks like Matthias has gone round in turn 3. Horrid scene for him in the second to last lap here. He will get no higher than 12th place. I don't think so, unless there will be penalties. A speed bar there, a bit of barging gets him up into 4th place over Camille in 5th. And further back, Simon now will be trying to go for the move on Camille. He was very close there just before, as Roy goes up into 9th place over Photon. There's, oh my, Camille goes wide in the second to last turn. There goes Simon up into 5th place. And Camille just went a bit wide in the second to last turn, as I'm losing my voice a bit here in the final couple of corners. Camille really struggling with traction. There comes Cardnoff up into 6th place. And behind, Fehler and Roy going side by side. Jan Fehler down the inside of Camille as well. It's a 3 wide there for a second, as there's some wheel spin for Photon. He isn't able to get the traction down. Fehler in 7th, Roy in 8th. Oh my, scenes we're seeing here in the final lap of the Grand Prix. It looks like Infamous caught up to Pressure in 1st place. Will he be able to go for the move in the final couple of corners? Let's just stay on board for a bit here to see as they're coming down to turn 9 and turn 10. There he goes, Pressure, second to last corner. Pressure, final corner now. Infamous will have the DRS. Will he be able to get past? No, he will not. Pressure wins the Grand Prix. Infamous 2nd place. Anchor takes 3rd. Speedbari goes way down the field with penalties. But Jan Fehler takes 4th. Bari 5th. Photon 6th. Roy 7th. Simon takes 8th. Andonator 9th. Matthias 10th. Cardnoff 11th. And Camille is doing donuts on the start finish straight. And he, oh my, he has lost his whole front wing. And oh my, he doesn't even complete the race. Has to DNF as he hits the wall without a front wing on the start finish straight. But wow, oh my, what a finish we saw to the Grand Prix. I will almost say thank you to Sones for that safety car in the end. But what the scenes we just saw on the final 3 laps, as the drivers just battled it hard out for the final positions. But here the podium of Preschnader, Infamous and Mr. Anchor. And now it's time to think. And I don't think Infamous has been able to do it. I believe that Speedbari can be crowned AOR PC Season 19 F1 champion with 1 round to go. So well done on the mathematical win today for Speedbari, and what a season he has had. He has had 4 wins and 6 podium positions. And, well, his lowest position in a race has been 8th place, just showing what he has been able to do. But congratulations to Speed Bari for taking the championship tonight. And what a race we saw, with 2 safety cars coming in the race, going from full wets to intermediates to dry running, and with mixed strategies with the safety car. We saw some crazy battling towards the end, but we will unfortunately have to end. And we will be back next week for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final race of this season, and it will be the fight for the rest of the positions in the championship. Of course, there is still a battle for second place in the championship. That can still be decided. There is that can be quite the battle we can see next week between Infamous Simon and Preschnader. But we will see next week, and until then, have a good one, stay safe, and goodbye.